Hello, everyone. So thank you, Muhammad, for the introduction. And thanks, everyone, for joining this talk. We'll make it as short as possible. Then we will be open for any question. So I'm Khaled, an architect and the director of XYZ Designers. We are an engineering consultancy studio specialized in architecture and interior design. We, and by we I mean architects and engineers, are living in the most exciting but challenging time of internet. Internet is a combination of two words, inter and network. So once you are in it, you are connected to others. You can communicate and share information. The internet has replaced almost everything that we used to know, or at least some of us used to know. So stickers become our Twitter, address book become Facebook, Instagram replaced the photo frame of our family. Our views and our TV is a YouTube. Skype replaced the telephone, you name it. The beauty of this integration is that all these applications can talk to each other. We can make our phones talk to each other, Facebook talk to Instagram, and Pinterest talk to WhatsApp. This is happening in the digital world. And we somehow cannot live without all these applications. But in the real world, the physical one, this revolution is not seen as much. This is where technologies were slower to be adopted than the digital life. Today, we can build a network of physical objects that can talk to each other. We call it the Internet of Things. Things that are so far static, like your door, your mug, your table, sofa, your car, and your fridge. Actually, your fridge can interact, act, order, and comment exactly like any person from your friends using the internet. So next time talking to a stranger on the internet, make sure that you are not talking to a fridge. Maybe you ask him questions about global warming. The Internet of Things, IoT, the model of it is very simple. The network of physical objects, we call it the things, embedded with sensors, software, electricity, and network connectivity, which enables them to collect and exchange data. We are entering a very exciting time where everything around you in your home or outside is connected to the internet and can have a conversation. For example, Windows of a smart home can receive an automatic command to open or close depending on the forecasts taken from the weather service. Another example, when sensors show that the soil is dry, watering systems get an automatic command to water plants. Sensors also can help monitor the state of industrial equipment. And in case of a pre-fail situation, an IoT system generates and sends automatic notifications to field engineers. Now, the beauty here is not only this conversation and the orders. It is that these machines, they become machines, are always watching and learning. They see the behavior of the users and adapt that accordingly. For example, intelligent lighting can apply models generated by machine learning, meaning it can recognize the patterns of a smart home owner's behavior. Say he is leaving home at 8 a.m., coming back at 7 p.m. Accordingly, adjust the time when lights are switched on and off. So the machine would switch the lamps on 5 minutes before they will be needed. Another fascinating actually example, analyzing users' behavior in long-time perspective. A smart system can develop advanced behavior here, meaning when sensors don't identify typical movements and voices of home inhabitants, a smart system can suppose that smart home owners are on a holiday and adjust the behavior. So what they would do, they would sometimes switch on the lights to give the impression that the house is not empty, obviously for security reasons. But they won't keep the lights on all the time to reduce the energy consumption. If we are all still wondering how IoT is applicable on architecture, then keep wondering. Indeed, architecture is the biggest thing amongst all the things. It is the thing that we live, work, dance, work out, shop, party in. Fundamentally, the purpose of architecture is to make everyone as comfortable, as happy, and as effective as possible. But still, buildings, as we know them, are just static boxes in which you cannot interact with except for a few manual switches. The truth is, we are far behind using the IoT in our buildings. In some cases, we all know that we are using a smart application to control AC, curtains, sometimes light, but this is still far from the IoT. Now, the good news is our buildings today, as it stands, have a lot of capability. They have tons of controls, sensors, and IPs, but they are not used for their potential. They are still not doing any meaningful support to people occupying the building itself. Maybe this is something that to blame architects for, as we are dealing with buildings as dead objects, not a live object. We actually have only seen our houses alive in scary movies. Well, not everything is bad. We have seen here and there applications of IoT within architecture in all its phases. So architectural life cycle, traditionally divided by RIBA into 7 phases. 6 phases from initial briefing to construction, and 1 phase when the building is in use. This is strange in my opinion, as usually the 6 phases make up only 5% of the project life cycle. For our exercise here, I have taken the liberty to combine and organize the architecture cycle in 4 logical phases, starting from briefing, initiating the project, design, the creativity and where magic happens, construction, moving from papers to real life, and then in use. This is actually what matters. This is where the purpose of architecture is achieved. I will be comparing in the next slides the practices as we know it now to the new projects, ideas that are in the IoT market. Starting by the brief phase, any project should start with a brief to translate the main questions of the project. Finding the best plot or space or a house that satisfy the end user needs, analyzing the market, price, value, potential, feasibility, and then setting up the initial budget for this project and decide the time to build this project. In the IoT world, nowadays, we have few solutions that are advancing the briefing process. By using the internet, you can smartly know now the value of the property and compare it to others. You can check the mortgage plans and your return over time. Moreover, you can estimate your budget. For example, realestate.com.au offers the value of the properties listed with a comparison of other plots and also the location value. They also offer simple construction cost estimation, and they do a rough estimate on a fit out as well. So this would help the end user. If you want to know the plot history, you can check now Google Maps that can show you the history of the plot from 20 years ago. It also can show you the neighborhoods, sun direction, wind, etc. Maybe in the future, Google Map will advance and they would offer the future potential development of this property. In Dubai now, you can install Khaled app that can show you affection plans. Now here to the left is the affection plan as we all know it. To the right is a newly launched application by Dubai municipality where you download a smart affection plan, which with limited data for now, as it's just started. But now as it becomes digital, you will soon find more data that would help you buy the plot or build it. This data is extremely valuable to kick off any project. Now moving to the next phase, which is design. Now that after we have the project brief, we start the creative phase. During this phase, we start with concept or concepts. Then we advance it with coordination with all stakeholders. We select and specify materials. Then we submit to client and authorities to get the building permit. Right after that, the building permit, we tender the project to get the best contractor. In the IoT world, I have seen a lot of advancements online that truly cover each item within this phase. Online approval, for example, Dubai municipality offers approval for buildings via their online platform using the BIM model. You can now get your project approved for construction. Well, at least partly of this project, as not all the authorities are integrated still, but soon they will be. To generate concepts and to select materials, then coordinate it with engineers up to tender phase, you can use Designical.com. A year ago, we launched Designical.com as a crowdsourcing online platform that offers a solution for clients and designers, where you can generate concepts from global designers. You can select material easily. You also can hire your contractors. And in the future, you will be able to procure the materials directly from the source. With Designical.com, you can tender your project online and let contractors in your city place their bids. You will be getting the best price, cut cost, create competition, read reviews, and evaluate bidders without fighting and killing yourself negotiating with contractors. After the contractor wins the job, they will start the building process along with procurements. So this would happen in phase 3, the construction. In parallel, the contractors, they will be reporting to clients and consultants the job progress. During this phase, the consultant and authorities will perform regular inspections and snagging on a daily, weekly or monthly basis. Based on the construction progress, consultants usually release payments and approvals to contractors up until delivery date and the close out. In the IoT, we have noticed few projects and ideas that will advance this phase to another level. For example, same at Designical.com, we are aiming to be the Amazon for materials procurement, where you can purchase, negotiate, and ship everything while monitoring the manufacturers and the shipments up until it reaches the site. Another example, solving the site reporting issue, is from Ericsson company. The tap-and-go smart worker solution allows sensor devices from many of the world's leading device manufacturers to be paired with their smart garments for additional safety, enabling device and SOS alerts to be displayed locally on the workers' PPE, making them more visible and audible. This warns the workers locally on the site and can send data to site office or control room for real-time safety monitoring. The third example, I guess everyone has heard about it. The Apis Core Printing, a US company that prints buildings. They recently completed a 3D print of a 2-story administrative building for the Dubai municipality, standing at 9.5 meters tall with an area of 640 square meters. This is the largest 3D printed building to date. Not only this, they now have a mobile construction 3D printers, which means they can send these printers to any site to print buildings and go back to warehouse. Do you think this is how we will be building Mars? Obviously, this looks more like it. Finally, this phase includes operation, maintenance, life experience, and of course, management. This phase actually is the target phase and the most important phase in a building life cycle. Yet, as architects, our role is over. We actually assume that people after us will live in their building happy ever after. In reality, and back to the problematic matter, that we don't design alive buildings, while buildings actually are like any living being. They get sick, get old, they leak, changing colors, and always need a good polish. In fact, according to some reports, around 30% of the data is lost during design and construction. A lot like cutting out the turning point of our favorite novel. Often, construction teams are so focused on completing the work at hand, they forget to properly document and detail the full story of construction. This leaves owners with an incomplete view of not only construction progress at the moment, but it's incredibly challenging and costly when it comes to long-term facility management. As a result, there can be a great deal of additional and avoidable costs for facility teams to incur from the procurement side. Furthermore, without the right resources, a building's overall life cycle could decrease. Just think about this situation. A major water pipe bursts in a state-of-the-art on-campus medical facility. Each extra minute, it takes technicians to locate the right shut-off valve on paper, the as-built drawings, which could be archived in a room that is chock full of filling cabinets with paper drawings, could potentially cost the owner hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage, if not substantially more. However, if technicians have an accurate and organized view of facilities data at their fingertips, they have the right information needed to minimize these damages. Here we have the IoT involved. Implementing the Internet of Things helps facility managers scale their business efficiently, ensure the safety and a positive experience for tenants, reduce operating costs, and create an agile working environment. A company called Yanzi has developed an open, fast, and robust and evolutionary software and device management platform for IoT devices in smart buildings. They created few products that anyone from us, even the end user, can install it in a building. Their products talk to each other and can monitor doors, lighting, monitor the energy, temperature, humidity, air quality, noise level, occupancy, and motion. You can attach one of their products to anything, so it becomes a smart thing. This smart thing can be set to various actions decided by the architect or the owner. It's time to move and let things that we create work for us, enhance our life quality, and reduce energy consumption. With IoT, the monitoring room as we know it, I think you all know this room, will be replaced by a much smaller device at a fraction of the cost. Imagine the future, not very far future. If we support this much needed evolution, or I can even say revolution. Imagine that architecture comes so easy that only the human interference would be in creating the creative design concepts during the brief time. Then the things will work together to have the concept built, maintained, and operated. Imagine you will check in a cloud from your Facebook account. The machine will learn the style you like. The machine will get you the best deal of a plot. Then will propose the best designers that suits you from all around the world. The machine also would tell your designer your habits and life pattern to implement it into his work. The machine will drive the designers to work within the authority's parameters because they are connected to authority's machine. Not only this, the machine is connected with manufacturers, with on-demand materials manufacturing and prices. Imagine all of this. And then after you decide everything, then one button will pop up to initiate factories machines, shipment company, and to send printers machines to print your project, pouring concrete or whatever material would be in the future, then installing the products that you have selected or your designer has selected, and finally deliver the key to you. Well, obviously it won't be a physical key, maybe a QR. This seems to be way into the future, but actually 30 years ago, architect Ken Sakamura in Tokyo used such a forward-thinking technique to build a house. I will leave you with a snapshot of this visionary architect's work, and will be happy to answer any question after it. Cheers.
An intelligent house. The Tron Smart House project has been underway for more than 2 decades. This project looks at the recent development of ICT and designs future smart houses after imagining how they should look and function. This project carries out laboratory study, and it also builds real houses for evaluation and review. The first intelligent house was built in 1989. The second one was built in 2004. And the third one in 2009. The leading concept is building human-friendly houses. Computers support humans so that humans can devote themselves to what only humans can do. Japan faces an aging population and fewer children. We aim to build houses that are friendly to the aged and people with disabilities. The technologies used are not all advanced computer technologies. We designed for less energy dependence, solar batteries, fuel cells, and providing electricity using hybrid cars make the houses more energy efficient. We aim for maintenance-free houses. For example, outer walls coated with optical catalytic material allow accumulated dirt to be easily washed off when it rains. In the following, we survey some technologies that may be useful for the support of people with dementia and other disabilities. Our smart houses understand real-world status using the technologies of the Internet of Things or ubiquitous computing. The houses are aware of outside conditions such as rain, wind, temperature, and humidity. Using this knowledge, the houses can close windows automatically or control air conditioners. The house monitors who's in the house, where they are, and what they're doing, what their health condition is, and then controls the indoor environment. Our houses try to offer a comfortable environment for occupants by automatically controlling facilities. For example, they can wake up the occupants comfortably by monitoring human sleep and people's brain activity. The houses offer easy-to-operate interfaces. You can call an elevator by voice, or a remote control changes the display, offering only minimum functions available for each room. The facilities in these houses are connected to a computer network. The toilet, for example, is equipped with a blood pressure sensor and automatic urinalysis machine, and can send the latest measurement to a family doctor via a network for facilitating health management. You can attach sensors to your body and send your current heartbeat, breathing rate, and body temperature to family doctors, or make emergency calls. This can be done within the smart houses. This shows a future refrigerator. RFID tags attached to food packages help refrigerators to identify them. Using the information, we can know what items are put in and when, and even get warnings when food items are about to go bad. Automatic storage facilities can capture what objects we put in, recognize them by visual images, and store the information in a database for easy retrieval of objects later. The concert ticket of the future has an RFID tag inside it. Later, when you scan this ticket, a piano can play the music from that concert automatically. This is an example of using RFID tagged objects as a memory cue for reminiscence sessions. Such a future scenario may become a reality in the not-so-distant future. We hope that the era will come when people with dementia and other disabilities can live more independent lives thanks to the IoT and ubiquitous computing.
I think we are done, right?
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. It was very exciting.
Thank you.
Let's see the questions that we have. We already started having questions. This is from Dr. Abir. The question is, or the comment, the big fear with IoT is privacy issues. I don't mind using advanced devices as long as the data is exclusively used by me. People are concerned about the big data collected by big companies.
That's true. And that's why a big part of the IoT is the security. So any application or any software or any device comes with a secured transfer information, so you can control this information.
Okay. We have this question also, Dr. Abir. What about the increase of cost of implementing such IoT devices? This will ultimately increase the cost of properties?
Definitely, it will increase the cost of property on the short run, but in the long run, it will it will reduce a lot of costs, energy costs, for example. And you know, it's like any technology, when they start expensive, and then
it goes down, yeah.
It just goes into cheap and cheap. And I think this is similar to any application that we were dreaming to have, and similar to the TV screens that used to be huge and now it's small and it's cheap.
Okay, the third question, the IoT is a professionally dependent matter. Maintenance of IoT is confined to IoT professionals, experts. Thus, ordinary people are ignorant with such technologies. This will increase people's dependency on IT professionals and increase feeling of not belonging. Do you think so?
I couldn't hear the question, sorry.
Okay, let me repeat again. The IoT is a professionally dependent matter. Maintenance of IoT is confined to IoT professionals, experts. Thus, ordinary people are ignorant with such technologies. This will increase people's dependency on IT professionals and increased feeling of, absolutely, this will happen.
Obviously, yes, of course. I mean, I think we call ourselves, we're architects, but now there's an architect who is specialized in the IoT, which is the architecture of the IoT. So obviously, yes, this will increase the demand of engineers IoT.
Actually, even during the pandemic, this shown a lot of depending on IT people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was really massive. Okay, this question from Maya. What are some of the drawbacks to consider when it comes to the application of IoT in architecture?
I can't think of anything actually. It's the machine that we're teaching the machine to help us, and then the machine would learn how to help us better. But I can't see anything would be as a negative from the IoT side. I just can't see anything. Obviously, along the way of implementing all these applications, and we will have a lot of errors. But along the way and in the future, I don't see any problem in that, and I'm not afraid that the machines will initiate a war against us. I don't think this would happen. So.
The only issue is just to reduce the manpower, the human manpower.
Well, maybe it actually helps the human to work in a more creative jobs than doing things that are not as creative, because we need to work. Yeah. Maybe we will have the machines working for us to help us and reduce the hours that we need to work for. So yes. It may be the opposite.
Life better, actually. Yeah.
Absolutely, it may be the opposite.
Which is a valid point. Yes. Another question: in your opinion, how will this affect architecture education?
Architecture education?
Yes. How the IoT things, and when you have IoT and everything, that the architecture is not going to remain the same thing in education also.
Definitely it should affect the architecture education. I mean, the video that I have shared is 30 years old. I built this house 30 years ago, and now we are discussing the technology. So it's strange that we have not learned it in our schools now, and we are still thinking and doubting it. So obviously, the school has to adapt to this technology. And during the pandemic, now all the schools adapted the Zoom calls and the social distancing. So it's gonna happen soon. And if schools are not teaching it, architects who are just graduated, soon they will have to learn it by themselves.
By practice.
By practice. Yeah, by need.
Exactly. So far, these are the questions that we had. Let's wait if someone is writing a question or something. Okay, this is Engineer Atif with us.
مساء الخير.
مساء النور.
مساء النور.
I'll speak in English, although I prefer Arabic, but since the whole thing is in English, fine. I'm surprised. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation, really. I appreciate your passion. But I'm surprised you see nothing wrong with it. You just said that. I'm trying to play, the devil advocate here. I can see you support this movement, so to speak, and that's fine, But in order to find out what's best solution, I don't think we should blindly believe in anything and everything. Always, it has to be criticized, critique, okay, constructive criticism. And there are big questions and small questions. I am an architect, but I'm not really, personally, I'm not fully subscribed, to advanced technology. I approach it with caution, really. This is just me. I like technology, but I can't find it in myself that I can happily and quickly follow the trend. I'm a bit conservative when it comes to these things or taking these decisions. First of all, on the economic benefit, this is the grand scheme of things. And you said yourself that on the short term, it's expensive, but on the long term, it could be cheaper. You know, the total concept of value of creating a city or the cost of construction on the scale of a country. And this is, I think, the same, this is true for all grand schemes, you know, like, I don't know, changing, you know, the type of fuel we use or how we generate our power and electricity. These are grand questions and strategic projects. I think public money or funding should be part of this. In California, for instance, right now, they would actually, the state would finance or partially finance a person if they decide to buy an electric car, for instance, okay. So my concern here that the cost shouldn't be always on the shoulder of the individual citizen. Okay, if this is a grand scheme to benefit the whole country and on the long run, as you just said, I think it should be planned, you know, on a grand scale. You know, that's one thing. I'm not willing myself, you know, I'm an architect. I'm not willing to pay for all of this to build my house, because on the long run, it will reduce the cost of everything. Because I don't think I will even catch up in my lifetime with this benefit, economic benefit. Maybe my children or grandchildren. That's one thing. So it's a question of planning, really. That's one thing, like state planning. The other thing which I'm worried about as an architect, and forgive me if I speak too much, we still didn't answer the basic question of what is good architecture. Architecture is not only about the construction process. Yes, it's part of what you are doing, but the ultimate goal is not the tools, really. It's the quality of space. It's how the architecture that we create really represents our identity, how we reflect our own culture and hopes and our traditions and our future aspirations as well. I don't think, and I speak to you from Saudi Arabia, we don't manufacture any of these technologies that you mentioned. So I'd be 100% dependent on importing them. Okay, that's for me not a very good economic decision. That's one thing. The issue of security is definitely still standing, even with all the security, precautions that anyone would put. Once you are in the internet, you are prone, to security failure and security breaches. This is the second point. The third point is that I might be repeating history here actually. With any new major invention, like the shift from coal mines to oil and petroleum as well, all of these questions were raised, when you shift technology, in a fundamental way. So now you are, and you'll find always benefactors of actually maximizing the use of certain technologies. So my fear is that these technologies are thrown, in front of us, because all of these technology companies and technology capital would like to create a market for it. They want to blaze new grounds and therefore create a dependency, on these things that somebody has to pay for eventually, and we will keep using them for, I don't know, next 2-3 centuries, I don't know. Just like oil, when it became extremely prevalent, after coal and coal mining in the mid-19th century, and now, oil is a dependency issue. It's addictive, and the world now is trying to find a new source of energy. So that's why I'm cautious about all of these things. Yes, I mean, technology is beautiful, elegant, and all of that, It's clean cut, but I don't know. I'd love to see a building made by hand with, with earth architecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atif, for the questions. I'll just, I didn't get the last question, but I think I got the first three. So planning, obviously, I do agree that governments has to, authorities and governments has to push and help and support end users. And I mean, in terms of such a thing, it's a business at the end of the day. I mean, inserting all this technology. So of course, there will be big companies as well pushing for that, whether we like it or not. But obviously, similar to the solar energy, governments nowadays are pushing for that. And similar to what you just said about the Tesla cars in US, they are pushing for that because it reduces the consumption of energy. So I agree with you completely. For security, I just can't understand the problem. We all have iPhones and Samsung or whatever mobile we have, and we have it, and it sleeps next to us, and this is an IP, and this actually the biggest risk. We have it in our hand, and we're using it, and we cannot avoid it. We know that it's not, well, not 100%, but sometimes we know and we hear stories that is not secured, but we're still keeping it because we need it. It's a need. And definitely, if the machine would help you to make your life easier, you would be needing it in the future. And the third question was for design, and I definitely agree with you. And I think when it comes to creative, and I think I mentioned that in my slides, that when it comes to creative, we don't want machines to be as creative as, or we don't want to use the creativity of the machine. No, we want to use the architecture mind, the sketches by coincidence, or thoughts because I'm crazy in my brain. I mean, we don't want to have this A plus B plus C equal X. We don't want that. We want the creative minds of people when it comes to design. That's why I didn't focus on the design. I said it's clearly we want people to generate the concepts, not the machines. Sorry, but I hope that I answered your questions. But the first, the number 4, I couldn't get it.
Started with us.
Yes, I'm with you. Number 4, I forgot number 4 because
So, all right.
like the last 2 points. I was speaking, I think, about I mean, you covered it. The last point was about, capital industry trying to place new markets and create new dependencies, basically. Just like being dependent on oil or whatever, or McDonald's or junk food, or so that's my fear. The quality. I'm sorry if I'm taking off your time, but I don't think we will be extremely better off, really. The amount of change or enhancement that these machines, as you described them, this is just my personal opinion, it's not worth all the effort yet. I feel we will be maybe slightly better off. Yeah, that the house or the building will be slightly a bit more sexy. That's all. The changes so far, and I know this is a developmental issue. It can't happen in a day or a night. It has to. It's like a wheel. It has to spin a few times. To reach maturity. But the changes so far are very cosmetic. Controls and all of that, and that might be right for certain building types, but not on the grand scale of a whole city where about 80% of the building stock is residential, really. So it's not in residence, not everything can be programmed. Still people would like to have control of their lives. What if the system shuts down all of a sudden completely, and your house is completely disconnected from the internet, and you've got no life anymore that day? I mean, I think of all of these scenarios. So And then you have to call this company and all of these providers that you mentioned. And you have to buy maybe maintenance plan annually or something like that. And, you know, it just, you know, a man's house is a man's fort. It's the place where I want to disconnect from the world. So I'm just giving you all of these personal, individual, I don't know, ramifications of the whole issue, really. I could be wrong eventually. But it's something, you know, to be considered. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Atif.
I just pasted one link from design.com, which is actually two entities they started designing, which is just beginning now. We're actually it's creating automatically adaptable layouts and increase and decrease depending on the criteria and requirements that you enter in the website and the application, and continue designing, generating layouts. So it can start AI, let's say, take part of creativity in typical buildings, prototype buildings, or whatever plans. So it will try to take some part of creativity, and it will, especially companies who behind that. So how many times you're speaking in front of your mobile and you start finding advertising when you're browsing your mobile, and I'm sure you faced that. So
Obviously.
It's all about media and about advertising, about this.
Indeed, one of the slides I mentioned that in the future you will be able to check in your Facebook account, and then I would learn your style. As say you are my client, I would learn what you like without meeting you, because the machines are learning about you, and I would be learning that, and this would help me to design a better thing for you. So yeah, indeed, of course, things will change, whether we like it or not, but things will change.
So, I think we are up. All questions are done, and time is almost up. Okay, we have someone. So we still have 6 minutes.
Sure.
Mr. حسام.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام. صوتك بعيد.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام. تفضل.
Clear?
Yes.
كويس كده? Thank you. Thank you. I don't know Dr. Khaled or Engineer Khaled.
Khaled, just Khaled.
Thank you, Khaled. Thank you very much for your informative presentation, by the way. I will go through my question quickly because we are running out of time. Regarding the question of one of our colleagues about the architecture education, and your answer was about the adaptation that we are imposed to adapt with these solutions. By the way, I'm an associate professor in the academia, and I'm really concerned and interested in the application of smart solutions under the scale of smart urban services and architecture urban services. I'm really interested about this, and I'm trying really hard to find a clear answer for a focused question. That is, does this way of solutions, the smart solution, whatever on the planning or urban or architecture scale, will affect our traditional theories that we are teaching our students and the new generations? Clearly, till now, I cannot figure out a specific criteria or guidelines showing that it affects these theories and principles that we are teaching our students. Yes, we should adapt with the smart or the e-learning and smart solution in our education environment. Yes, okay. I know the smart city is adding the data layer between the traditional smart service layer and infrastructure layer. Okay, good. But I'm talking about these theories and principles that we used to apply in our educational life and in our actual life and market life. I cannot find an answer for this, Khaled. Really, I tried by many searches and attending a lot of events. I cannot find a solution for this. All what we have that it affects, as you said, the lifestyle of the end user. It promotes their lifestyle. Okay, it facilitate and streamline and organize the contact between the contractor, the architect, the end user, the procurement. Okay, I'm talking about the architecture education as you're asked about. Till now, I said for you, I'm an associate professor. I'm trying to search in the researches all over the world, libraries, journals. All what I found that, well, as you said, it's just an operative process. Operative process. As I said, it enhances the operation and the contacts between different disciplines. But regarding the principles, the architecture principles and urban principles, I cannot find a clear guidelines that is affected or changed or maybe will be developed. I cannot find something like this, Khaled. Do you agree with me or not?
I think, thanks for the question, Sam. And I think it would definitely affect. And just a quick, just simple example, Tesla as a car would affect the urban design of a road, because now we know we need different petrol station, or every few hours we need another petrol station. So this would affect the urban design or the city design or city layout. That's just a quick example for that. And it will become, I think, Hussam, it will become a tool for designers or architects to help them design the way they like better. Imagine you are actually now thinking and designing something three-dimensional and you just print it. This would definitely be open doors for creativity. I think that's what I see. In terms of the design theories that you're teaching your students, I think most of the design theories would be still applicable on everything. Design theories of beauty or Vitruvius or whatever, these theories will still be applicable, because at the end of the day, we're letting machines building to us. We are the end user, the human. So the theories of architecture were still applicable. It's just a new tool similar to BIM tool or CAD tool would enhance the quality of the design, I guess.
Okay, yes, I agree with you. By the way, today, I was launching an internal summer activity in my university in Riyadh, namely thinking in 3D using digital sketching. This was my course. I was an instructor, by the way. I was talking about this, but I'm talking that space, still the space, the function, still the function, the theory, still the theory. That's what I'm talking about. But I agree with you. I agree really with you. By the way, I'm interested by the spatial analysis due to the space syntax theories that can promote this remote sensing in the streets, the thermal cam, a lot of these devices that is related to our discipline. But I cannot find it interested for students that it will not affect their way of design, thinking of design, but it will facilitate their way of design. Thank you for your listening and your valuable insights, really. And for our host, I don't know your name.
Thank you.
ArchiNet. Can you hear your name, please?
Yes, Muhammad.
Thank you, Muhammad. Thank you very much for this valuable informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the note.
Thank you, Mr. Khaled, again.
You're welcome.
And thank you for giving us the chance to have all these answers and questions, and for the nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope that you'll get use of, you will use this information wisely, and it will open creativity to everyone.
Inshallah.
And
thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam.